Hey, welcome. This video we're going to focus on solving two-step equations, but we're going to model them using algebra tiles. So let's refresh our memory what an algebra tile is. If you focus on the left side of your screen, you have two rectangles and two small squares. The rectangles will represent your variable x. So red will always be positive no matter which tiles you're using. So the red rectangle is a negative x, while the green is just a positive x. You don't have to put positive, but it's up to you. And as I said, the red is always negative, so this will be a -1. And then the yellow is a +1. On the right side, we save those for algebra. Now, since it's on the screen, I'm going to tell you that this large square is -x², and the large blue is just x². Save those for algebra. All right, let's go ahead and start modeling our two-step equations. So the left side of the equal sign is equivalent to whatever's on the right side. So kind of picture a balance scale in science when it's balanced. So we're balancing equations. And I say that because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Now, my suggestion is if you don't have tiles, just draw it. So I'm going to draw 2x, and so because it's not a negative in front of it, I'm drawing 2 positive x. Now, -1. Now, it's -1, but it operates the same way. So I like to just say -1. On the right side, it's equal to 3. Now, that would be 3 positives, just like this. Now, I want to undo that red negative. And so the way you undo the negative is do the opposite, which would be a positive. And we're balancing. So I'm going to add 1 positive to the left, and then I also add it to the right, because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other to keep it balanced. Now, refresh your memory, a positive and negative, that equals a 0 pairs, and they cancel each other out. So now your new equation is 2x equal to 4. Now I have 4 positive units on the right side. If you notice, I drew them laying down because we're going to share those 4 positives. So this is what I mean. You get 1, you get 1, you get 1, you get 1. When I say you, I'm talking about the positive x. So each x has 2 positives. So that means x is equal to 2. If I wanted to go ahead and double check it, you should never get these wrong. You go back and plug it in, and the left should still balance out and equal to the right. This 2 times 2 is 4, minus 1, and then it's 3 equals 3, so it checks out. All right, let's go to another problem. Now, the left side is still equal to the right side. Kids a lot of times don't like it looking like this because then they get confused and think they can't do it, but it's the same process. On the left side, I have 3 positives. Now, are we talking 3 positive x or 3 positive units? Well, because there's no x, we will just draw 3 positive units. And then on the right side, there's a -2. And so I should have mentioned on the last example, the 3 is your constant. -2 is your coefficient. Any number that's right attached to that variable is called your coefficient. And then the -3 or -3, that's your other constant. It can also be called terms when you get into more complicated problems. So we're going to draw what's on the right side. So I need 2 red rectangles because it's -2x. And I need 3 small rectangle squares. Okay. Now our goal is to get down to 1 positive x. And so what we have to do is the opposite. And so the opposite of a red rectangle square would be a yellow, because when I say squares, we're talking units. So I'm going to add the opposite, which is 3 positives. And remember, positive and the negative cancel each other out. I'm going to add 3 on the left side. Okay, and so these cancel out. And now you have 2 negative x, and we're going to share those, okay? So hopefully you figured out sharing just means divide. So you get 1, you get 1, you get 1. And so if you notice, negative x is equal to positive 3. But if you remember, I want to know what 1 positive x equals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over both sides of the tile. So if I flip over the x's and I make them positive, I have to flip over my units on the left side, because whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. I don't know why I was drawing green. I need to draw red. So the opposite of the yellow will be the red. So I'm going to redraw them, that I'm just going to draw them as negatives. Okay. So 1 positive x is equal to negative 3. Now, hopefully you realize why I flipped them, okay? If you didn't, I'm sorry. It just means that I divided both sides by a negative, because negative divided by a negative is positive. So if I had 2x and I divided a negative 2, I divided by negative 2, it became a positive, but the other side flipped over. So x equals negative 3. That is the final example. I hope it helped. Thanks for watching.